Welcome back to F1 Motor Fever Podcast, where today we're introducing the throttle to the floor, roaring down the straights with the family-run powerhouse, Jenzer Motorsport.
Jenzer, 30 years in the asphalt jungle and still revving strong. Quite the motorsport marvel, wouldn't you agree?
Couldn't have put it better, William. Andreas Jenzer and his wife Esther sparking the engine back in the 90s, and look at them now, champions in the FIA Formula 3 Championship.
An impressive 4-race winning streak, mind you. And all this success without commercial partners. A true family affair.
Indeed, from racing in '87 to team ownership in '93, Jenzer's journey has been a roller coaster ride, hasn't it?
Quite so. Starting with Swift chassis imports in Switzerland, and then moving on to the big leagues. Formula Renault, GP3, FIA Formula 3, Italian F4. The list goes on.
And let's not forget their domination in the Swiss FF 1800 Championship, 6 titles in 8 years. They've been setting the pace and taking the checkered flag time and again.
And producing notable talents like Bruno Spengler, Michael Ammermuller, and Danny Kloss. Jenzer is not just a racing team, it's a conveyor belt of racing stars.
Absolutely. Plus, it's been a training ground for mechanics and engineers alike. It's safe to say that Jenzer Motorsport has sparked many a career on the racetrack and behind the scenes.
But of course, running a racing team in Switzerland, with its high living costs and lack of permanent racing circuit, has its own set of challenges.
True, but the team's diversified its services, offering support to gentlemen drivers and maintaining single-seaters for track days. This has certainly helped them stay in the race.
As we look at the future, Andreas is planning to retire within the next 3 to 5 years. However, he's not shutting the garage door completely.
No, he's not. Thoughts of building a racetrack in Switzerland and continuing to guide the next generation of drivers are on his mind.
And so, Jenzer Motorsport's 30-year run is not just a story of podiums and pit stops. It's a testament to passion, perseverance, and precision.
A journey that's been both epic and timeless, a real racing saga. Jenzer Motorsport, ladies and gentlemen, a family-run team that's become an institution. Welcome, ladies and gents. You're tuned into F1 Motor Fever Podcast with yours truly, George, stepping up to the plate in place of your usual host, the fantastic Enzo. Alongside me is the ever-insightful, the always knowledgeable Mr. William.
Thank you, George. Looking forward to another thrilling episode.
That's the spirit. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I here? Well, every Thursday morning, we flip the gears and bring you special episodes on epic and historical subjects in the world of Formula One.
And this one, folks, is going to be a ride you won't want to miss.
Couldn't have said it better myself, William. Now, our loyal listeners and newcomers alike, if you're digging our content, it's time to show some love. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Share us with your friends, family, and fellow racing enthusiasts. Every click helps keep our engines running.
And trust me, you'll want to be in the driving seat for this one.
Absolutely. Want more details on the subject? Stick with us. Today we're talking about a subject close to our hearts, Jenzer Motorsport, a family-run team with an incredible journey. It's a story we believe you'll find as fascinating as we do.
It's a testament to passion, dedication, and the love of racing.
Full throttle, folks. Let's dive in. So here we are, 30 years down the line, and Jenzer Motorsport is still an independent family-run team. How refreshing is that?
It certainly is. In a world where commercial partnerships are the norm, it's heartening to see a team sticking to its roots.
Absolutely. And their passion for motorsport, particularly junior single-seaters, is as strong as ever.
Indeed. Their anniversary season was particularly noteworthy, wasn't it?
Oh, it was indeed. 4 race wins in a row during the midsummer, and they took home a well-deserved FIA Formula 3 victory at Spa-Francorchamps. That was their first win at that level since Yuki Tsunoda's sprint race win at Monza in 2019.
Quite the achievement, and from what I hear, there was quite a celebration in the paddock.
You heard right. Champagne flowing, team members hugging, tears of joy, the works. Even rival teams were quick to offer their congratulations.
And that, folks, is a testament to the camaraderie in motor racing, isn't it?
It sure is. And Andreas Jenzer's wish? Simple, really. Good health, pushing on in motorsport, and bringing home some trophies. That's what it's all about.
Couldn't be more spot on. The love for the sport, the love for the competition, that's what drives these teams. And Jenzer Motorsport embodies that spirit perfectly.
So true. Here's to 30 years of Jenzer Motorsport, and many more to come. Full throttle. It's fascinating, isn't it, William? Even after a successful season, there's always that one moment that could have been different. For Jenzer, it seems to be that late safety car at Monza.
Ah, yes, George, the what-ifs of motorsport. It's these near misses that fuel the competitive spirit.
True, but you know, what struck me the most was how Jenzer reflected on the journey. Quite amazing how fast these 30 years went, he said.
That's the thing about passion, George. It makes time fly.
It sure does, William. And with Jenzer Motorsport, it's always been about the family. Andreas and his wife, Esther Lauber, have always run things themselves.
And they've stuck to their roots, haven't they, George Watson? No commercial partners, no external investors, just a little bit an old family team.
That's right, William. It's all about the love for junior championships and single-seaters for them.
And Andreas isn't one for windscreen wipers on a car, is he?
No, he isn't, William Turner. A true single-seater enthusiast through and through. It's been a crucial part of his life, and that passion shines through.
As it does, George. And it all started with an Audi 50 at Switzerland's only circuit, Lignières. What a journey it's been.
From wild races at Lignières to the top of the FIA Formula 3 Championship, Jenzer Motorsport's adventure has truly been one for the history books, hasn't it, William?
It certainly has, George. And here's to many more thrilling chapters in their story. Full throttle.
It seems Andreas Jenzer's love for single-seaters was ignited when he got into a Formula Ford car in 1987. He started racing relatively late at 23 because he had to finance it himself. His parents weren't able to support him financially, so he relied on his job as an electrician to fund his racing dreams.
Just shows you, passion and hard work can get you a long way.
Absolutely. And he had the support of his then-girlfriend, Esther, who's been by his side, pushing from being a driver to transitioning into a race team. They even developed a self-built, faster chassis together with a friend, Alain Feuze.
I must admit, I'm not familiar with the concept of a faster chassis. Could you shed some light on that?
Oh, of course. The faster chassis was essentially a type of single-seater car that Andreas and his friend Alain Feuze developed. This car led him to consistent top 3 finishes in the Swiss Formula Ford Championship in 1990, 91, and 92.
I see, but I'm still not entirely clear on it. Could you explain it differently?
Sure, think of it this way. It's like they literally built their own race car from the ground up, designed specifically for their needs and preferences. It's not just about getting behind the wheel, it's about understanding every single part of the car and how it works. That's what the faster chassis was all about.
Ah, now it's clearer. That's quite impressive, isn't it? They were literally hands-on in every aspect of their racing journey.
Absolutely. And that's what makes the Jenzer Motorsport story so incredible. It's really a labor of love, full throttle. The moment that really changed things for Jenzer was after his promising 1992 season. He tested a range of cars, including Formula 3000, Porsche Cup, and F3, and was all set to step up to Formula 3.
Quite the leap from Formula Ford.
Indeed, but you know what they say about the best-laid plans. One of Jenzer's major sponsors, Bingelli Galvano, wouldn't support him if he moved to F3. But the sponsor offered to double the sponsorship if Jenzer started his own racing team.
Quite a dilemma for Jenzer, I suppose.
Quite so. But as it happened, he had already struck a deal to bring 2 Swift chassis back to Switzerland, and when a father approached him looking for a team to run his son, things started to fall into place.
So, was that the inception of Jenzer Motorsport?
Exactly. Within months, Jenzer was not only a Formula Ford team owner, but also the official Swift importer for Switzerland, and he sold 7 cars in his first year alone.
That's impressive. Swift must have been quite pleased.
Oh, they were. In Jenzer's words, Swift was very happy, and the impact of starting a competition team against Van Diemen in Switzerland worked out perfectly. And that, as they say, is history. Full throttle. Jenzer Motorsport hit the ground running, didn't they? They ended their first season with their first silverware. Hans Pfeuti won the Swiss FF 1800 Championship, and the team would go on to dominate the series with 7 titles in 8 years.
Actually, it was 6 titles in 8 years, not 7.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, you're right. It was 6 titles in 8 years. Thank you for the correction.
No worries, it's still a commendable achievement.
Definitely. As for Jenzer, He'd initially planned not to race anymore after 1993, but he came out of retirement one last time to take on future Sauber Formula One driver Norberto Fontana.
Now that's dedication to the sport.
It is. And what's more, Jenzer really found his calling as a team owner. Even in the early 90s, he enjoyed looking after the drivers, some of whom were only 16, 17, or 18 years old.
Quite the responsibility, I imagine.
Indeed. But Jenzer and his team were game for the challenge. They started racing internationally right from the start, traveling to Germany, France, and even England.
Quite the journey they've had, hasn't it been?
Absolutely. Pushing the limits, breaking boundaries. That's the spirit of Jenzer Motorsport. Full throttle. Jenzer fondly remembers the setups they were running in 1995 in Formula Ford. They had a lot of fun, and the team was quite successful, even clinching podiums in the French Championship and finishing 5th in the festival in '95 with Luciano Crespi in the Swift.
Sounds like a lot of good memories were made.
Absolutely. They even won the German championship with Mark Benz in the year 2000. Benz, who now works in his family's garage in Switzerland, recalls his time with Jenzer as a really special season. They were traveling almost non-stop to races, even sleeping in the back of the truck.
That's dedication. My mother always used to say, where there's a will, there's a way.
Quite right, and Ben speaks highly of Jenzer, calling him a real father figure who believed in him from the start.
It's amazing, the relationships and bonds that are formed in the world of racing.
Indeed, but things started to change towards the late 90s. The number of cars in the festivals began to dwindle, and national championships were beginning to struggle a bit. It was a sign of things to come in the world of Formula Ford, but we'll get into that later. For now, let's continue our journey through the incredible story of Jenzer Motorsport. Full throttle. Let's talk a bit about Jenzer's wins. The team has an impressive history. In series like the FIA F3 Championship, they have had 2 wins and 10 podium finishes. In GP3, they clinched 11 wins and 26 podium finishes.
Those are commendable numbers.
Absolutely. In the International Formula Master, they had 10 wins and 24 podium finishes. And let's not forget the Formula Renault 2.0 Euro Cup, where they bagged 16 wins and 45 podium finishes.
That's quite the tally. Their success has been across various series and years.
Yes, and that's not all. They've been consistently performing well in other series like Italian F4, F4 CEZ, ADAC F4, and Spanish F4. I'm particularly excited about their record in the F4 CEZ, where they had 11 wins and 29 podium finishes, finishing first in the championship.
Now that's something to be excited about.
Absolutely. Just goes to show the dedication and passion of the team. Speaking of which, when Formula Renault became a spec championship, and Tatus offered a ready-to-race car for a price below 30,000 euros, Jenzer didn't hesitate.
Taking advantage of opportunities as they come, that's the mark of a successful team.
Couldn't have said it better. Full throttle. Andre Hefty, a decision-maker at Renault Switzerland, played a significant role in supporting young Swiss drivers like Neil Jani, Mark Benz, and Nico Müller. This support greatly benefited Jenzer Motorsport, enabling them to field 2 drivers and immediately participate in the Formula Renault 2.0 German and European championships.
That's some strategic alliance, isn't it?
Indeed. From the year 2000 onwards, Jenzer decided to compete in the best championships like Italy, Germany, or France with Formula Renault 2.0. They were greatly impressed by the organization and championship package of the World Series by Renault.
It's always necessary to align with the right partners to achieve success.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some standout performances. Benz and Jani were runners-up in the Formula Renault 2.0 Euro Cup in 2001 and 2002, respectively. Bruno Spengler, who would go on to become a DTM champion, was runner-up in Formula Renault 2.0 Germany in 2002.
Jenzer Motorsport seems to have a knack for nurturing talent.
They surely do. Another notable achievement was when Michael Ammermuller, backed by Red Bull, took 2nd place in the Euro Cup in 2005. This marked the start of a long-term relationship with Helmut Marko.
The journey of Jenzer Motorsport is truly remarkable.
Absolutely. Full throttle. In 2003, Jenzer Motorsport expanded into the Formula Renault 5.6 Euro Cup, which was later succeeded by Formula Renault 3.5, run under the World Series by Renault umbrella. Success was swift, with Jani and Sharp narrowly missing out on titles in 2003 and 2004.
That's quite a streak of success they've had.
Certainly. Fast forward to 2009, and Jenzer had another champion, Fabio Leimer, who won the short-lived International Formula Masters Championship. However, Jenzer spotted the potential of the GP3 series, which they felt was a more viable option due to Renault's support.
Timing and strategic decision-making are key, aren't they?
Absolutely. The first GP3 car had a Renault engine, making it a natural fit for Jenzer, who had always been a keen follower of Renault's motorsport operations. They made their debut in GP3 in 2010.
A big step for them, I imagine.
Yes, and a successful one at that. GP3 would later evolve into the FIA F3 Championship in 2019. Jenzer notes that the show exploded when the name changed from GP3 to FIA F3, though this came with an increase in costs.
High stakes, high costs. It's a common tale in the world of motorsport.
True. Nevertheless, Jenzer appreciates the efforts made to keep the championship financially balanced and prevent costs from spiraling out of control. Full throttle. Jenzer Motorsport takes immense pride in being one of the two last remaining teams, alongside Art Grand Prix, who were there on day one of GP3.
That's a testament to their resilience and commitment.
Absolutely. On the entry level of single-seaters, Jenzer has been a constant presence in Formula 4 since its inception. They transitioned from Formula Abarth to join the inaugural Italian F4 season in 2014 and the ADAC F4 in Germany when it launched a year later.
That's quite a diverse portfolio of races they have participated in.
Indeed. In fact, following the end of ADAC F4 in 2022, Jenzer added a program in the F4 Central European Zone Championship for this season. Their driver, Ethan Ischer, managed to edge out teammate Rino Franco at the final round to secure Jenzer's first title in the category since Marco Siebert's 2016 Italian F4 Championship win.
Another feather in their cap.
Absolutely. The win is all the more impressive considering that Siebert was discovered in Argentina thanks to the connections of former driver Luciano Crespi. Siebert had no budget for testing, and his total test mileage in 3 seasons was likely equivalent to what a Prima driver today does before his first race.
That's quite remarkable. It's evident that talent and dedication can overcome many obstacles.
Couldn't have said it better. Full throttle. A testament to Jenzer's impact can be seen in the career of Marco Siebert. When approached to share his memories of his time with Jenzer, Siebert, who is now rebuilding his career in GTs, said that being with Jenzer made him the racing driver he is today.
That's high praise indeed.
Siebert fondly recalls his time with Jenzer Motorsport as being like a second home. He even referred to Andreas Jenzer as his second father in Europe. He lived with them for 3 years and was deeply involved with every aspect of the team, even working in the workshop on his own car.
That's a level of commitment that's not common these days.
It certainly isn't. Siebert believes the reason they won the championship wasn't just because they were fast, but because they truly worked together as a team.
Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.
Absolutely. But Siebert also points out a lesser-known aspect of Jenzer's management style. He admits that Jenzer is quite tough on his drivers, especially during race weekends. Despite the occasional tough love, Siebert credits Jenzer's methods as a crucial part of their success.
Sometimes a dash of strictness can indeed help bring out the best in people.
Indeed. So whether it's the careful nurturing of talent, the fostering of strong team dynamics, or a tough love approach, Jenzer Motorsport's success story is a testament to their unique approach. Full throttle. Jenzer's close ties with Argentina have remained strong over the years, with the team currently featuring 7 mechanics and 1 engineer from the country.
It's always lovely to see such international representation in a team.
Indeed. Jenzer has a fondness for the passion the Argentinians bring to his team. They have a love for motorsport that is truly contagious.
Passion is the fuel that drives success in this sport, after all.
Absolutely. Another non-European who made a significant impact is Yuki Tsunoda. This Japanese driver arrived in Europe as the reigning Japanese F4 champion with the backing of Honda and Red Bull. He was the first driver announced for the inaugural season of the FIA F3 Championship.
Tsunoda certainly proved himself as a force to be reckoned with.
He did. Jenzer admits, though, that not many teams were eager to sign Tsunoda initially. He was a relatively unknown F4 driver from Japan, who had never raced on European tracks.
It's always a risk to bet on potential, but when it pays off, it's a sweet victory.
That's right. Jenzer recalls that when Tsunoda first joined, his physical strength was lacking, and he could only manage about 5 laps. But with intense training, 7 days a week non-stop from December until March, Tsunoda was able to overcome this hurdle.
Talk about dedication and hard work.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the powerful combination of talent, hard work, and the right guidance. Full throttle. Tsunoda's first encounter with the car and team was during the postseason GP3 test at Abu Dhabi. He impressed right from the start with his times on each of the 3 days.
That's a strong start.
Indeed, another driver, Oscar Piastri, was testing with Jenzer Motorsport at the same time, and the two were always on par. Piastri was already scheduled to participate in the FR2 Zero Euro Cup, but Tsunoda stayed with Jenzer.
It's always fascinating to see how these early experiences shape the drivers' journeys.
Absolutely. Jenzer and the team did all the hard work with Yuki, a young Japanese boy, not even 50 kilograms heavy, living in Switzerland. They didn't make a big fuss about it, which in hindsight may have been a misstep, but they did an excellent job preparing him for Formula 2.
The proof is in the pudding, so to speak.
Indeed, they worked really hard on this project, and it was a huge success for Jenzer Motorsport. Unfortunately, life happens, and for the year of 2020, Red Bull shifted its allegiance to high-tech.
The world of motorsport can be as unpredictable as the races themselves.
That's one way to put it, mate. Blimey, it really makes you think how incredible the world of Formula 1 is, doesn't it? So much passion, so much competition, so much adrenaline. It's absolutely bonkers. What do you all think, my lovely audience? Are you enjoying the content? I'm really enjoying sharing these insights, and I hope you're having a blast too. So don't be shy and let us know your thoughts. And remember, keep the pedal to the metal and enjoy the ride. Full throttle. Working with Red Bull for nearly a decade, Jenzer admits, was not an easy task. Despite the challenges, they had a fruitful collaboration for a considerable length of time, stretching back to the team's time in FR2 Zero.
That's quite a run.
It certainly was. However, like all things, the partnership came to an end. Jenzer admits to being a strong character who likes to make his own decisions, which may have played a part in the separation.
Sometimes strong characters make strong teams.
That's right, but they were able to maintain their performance even with different drivers and often found themselves ahead of Red Bull.
There's no doubt about their resilience.
Absolutely. As an internationally oriented team, Jenzer has always been proud of its Swiss heritage. They've been avid supporters of young Swiss drivers, including such names as Jani, Benz, Leimer, Muller, and Gregoire Saucy.
That's quite a roster.
It is. They tallied over 70 Swiss drivers who've passed through Jenzer Motorsport, a figure that surprised even themselves.
That's a contribution to Swiss motorsport that can't be underestimated.
Absolutely. Though running a racing team from Switzerland, one of the most expensive locations in Europe and without a permanent racing circuit, presents its own challenges. But as they say, where there's a will, there's a way. Full throttle. Jenzer Motorsport, together with Sauber and F1, are the only two really established, sizable single-seater teams in Switzerland. Considering the size of the country, it's quite impressive how many good drivers it's producing.
It's a testament to the quality of training and passion for the sport in the country.
Absolutely. Speaking of Sauber, Jenzer had a strong relationship with the team, especially when Peter Sauber was in charge. He offered any support needed, except for financial, of course.
Money can be a touchy topic, I suppose.
Oh, definitely. On the bright side, being based in Switzerland does offer one practical advantage. It's at the heart of Europe. They're just a skip and a hop away from Italy, Germany, Austria, and France.
A prime location indeed.
Without a doubt. But it's not all rosy. Being based in Switzerland, they work with Swiss money, but they get paid in euros. This led to a financial crisis for the team in the year of 2011, when there was a major financial upheaval in Europe.
Currency exchange can indeed be a double-edged sword.
It certainly can. But as we have seen, Jenzer Motorsport has always been about overcoming challenges and pushing forward. And that, my friends, is what makes this sport so thrilling. Full throttle. The strength of the Swiss franc against the euro during the financial crisis of 2011 presented a significant challenge for Jenzer Motorsport.
I can imagine that throwing a spanner in the works.
It did. The francs' strength increased by 30% against the euro. It put the team in a precarious position, to the point where they considered calling it quits.
A real trial by fire, it sounds like.
Definitely, but they pushed through it, even though survival meant working twice as hard.
It's clear that there's a lot of grit and determination in the world of motorsport, even off the track.
Indeed. To keep the company afloat, they had to diversify their business. They started looking after gentleman drivers and their single-seater cars.
That's an interesting pivot. How did that work out for them?
It worked out well. If you visit their workshop, you'll find their 4 F4 cars and 3 F3 cars, but also between 25 to 30 single-seater cars where they do maintenance work, rebuilding, and repairs for track days. This new business avenue helped them navigate through the crisis of 2011.
It's a testament to their adaptability and resilience. Quite inspiring, really.
Absolutely, mate. The world of Formula One is as much about overcoming challenges off the track as it is on the track. Full throttle. Keeping a close eye on costs is crucial for small businesses, especially in the current financial climate. Jenzer's team has to be as efficient as possible. Esther, who handles the financial side of the company, might be getting a few more gray hairs this year, looking at all the bills coming in.
Sounds like quite a balancing act.
It certainly is. But without external investors, they've managed to remain competitive. They operate as a bit of an old family team.
A unique setup, but it seems to work for them.
Indeed. They're quite a small operation with an average of 15 to 25 employees over the last 20 years. But they're very efficient. Quite a few people are doing double duty.
Every person counts in a team that size.
They certainly do. And it's not just drivers who benefit from Jenzer's training. They've also been a stepping stone for mechanics and engineers starting their careers in the junior categories.
A real breeding ground for talent, then?
That's exactly right. The list of mechanics and engineers who've succeeded with Jenzer Motorsport is probably as big as the list of drivers. And that's another thing that makes them proud.
As they should be. It's not just about the drivers, after all.
That's right. Every member of the team brings something special to the table. Many drivers have brought a lot of joy to the team over the years. Full throttle. There have been so many fantastic drivers who've come out of Jenzer Motorsport. Nico Muller's feature race win in GP3 at Silverstone in 2011, for example, was a standout moment.
Oh, come on. Sure, it was a good win, but to call it a standout moment, really?
Well, I'd say it certainly qualifies as such. It was a significant victory.
Significant? You're blowing it out of proportion. It was just one race. There have been numerous other races and other drivers who've done just as well.
I don't think I'm exaggerating. Each victory has its own importance. This one in particular was a memorable moment for Jenzer Motorsport.
Memorable moment, my foot. It sounds like you're trying to romanticize it. It's a race, not a fairy tale.
How can you say that? This isn't just about the race. It's about the journey, the hard work, the triumph against the odds. I think I'll grab a glass of water.
Go ahead, have a drink. Folks, I think our friend here gets a bit carried away sometimes. I mean, wins are important, sure, but to make them sound like epic tales ... it quote s a bit much, don't you think? Bet he sees unicorns in the pit lane next.
All right, I'm back. I hope I haven't missed any unicorns while I was gone. Now, where were we? Yes, the journey of each driver in the world of motorsport, full throttle. Both Marco Siebert and the team's 2022 FIA F3 driver William Alatalo have continued to work with Jenzer as driver coaches. Alatalo is naturally itching to get back into a competitive seat, but says that he has learned a lot coaching the F4 guys.
That's interesting. Being a driver coach must give him a unique perspective.
Indeed. Having experienced life on both sides of the pit wall, he feels at home in the squad. He believes that everybody is working together just to have everything good for the driver and the team overall.
A real team effort, then.
That's right. But motorsport has changed considerably in the last 30 years. It's become safer, more popular, but also more commercial.
I suppose change is inevitable.
It is. But according to Jenzer, there are a few sporting things or political sporting things that make him think a bit too much about what he wants.
Could you elaborate on that?
He fears that the increased professionalism in entry-level categories is squeezing out traditional outfits like his own. Too much testing is driving costs up, while the dominance of Formula One junior programs and the concentration of well-funded drivers with one or two teams leave small points for the rest to fight over.
I see, that's a struggle for smaller teams then?
It certainly is. It's a tough old game, but the passion for motorsport keeps them pushing forward. Full throttle. Jenzer admits that he has found himself thinking too much about things in the sport that he doesn't like or would like to change. He's more of a motivation-driven person and sports-driven person, not so much business-driven.
That's a tough position to be in, especially with the way the sport has evolved.
Indeed. He doesn't particularly like the huge business surrounding the sport. Where he still gets a buzz is from working with young drivers. There's something special about the feeling that you can go out there with a driver and try to win.
That's where the real passion is, isn't it?
Absolutely. But he notes that today, many drivers have to do 10, 15, or even 20,000 kilometers before even thinking about getting in a race or winning a race.
It's not just about raw talent anymore then.
That's right. Raw talent still plays a role, but it's not quite the same as it was in the old days. However, despite these challenges, he's driven by the sport and wants to move forward.
It's not an easy journey, but one fueled by passion and dedication.
Exactly. And even after 30 years, Jenzer's not yet ready to hang up his headphones for good. But he does accept that the time to move on is approaching rapidly, possibly within the next 3 to 5 years.
All good things must come to an end.
True, but until then it's full throttle ahead, so it seems that Esther, who has already reached retirement age, and Jenzer, who's merely 3 or 4 years away from it, are considering different job objectives. They still make all their decisions themselves. They don't have to come to the circuit for each event, but they want to.
That's impressive. Their commitment to the sport is really commendable.
Absolutely. And they've just signed a deal to run Formula One cars in their next venture.
Really? That's quite a leap.
Ha ha ha. I'm just pulling your leg. They're not making a shift to Formula One. In fact, they could consider running GT cars where the first session is only at 10 in the morning, unlike an F4 where the first session is at 8.
Blimey, you had me going there.
Ha ha. Sorry about that. But on a serious note, their dedication is quite evident. Even at 60 or 65 years old, they're still willing to leave the hotel at 5:30 in the morning without breakfast to attend FIA F3 at Silverstone. That is some serious passion right there.
Wow, they're definitely in it for the love of the sport, not just for the money.
Absolutely. When you're in this game, it's all about the full throttle passion. One thing is certain, Jenzer says that they will remain in motorsport. He has fuel in his blood and will not be able to do something else than motorsport. But he's still uncertain about the exact direction they'll take in the future.
Sounds like there are some interesting possibilities.
Indeed. He's even considering building a racetrack in Switzerland as it is now allowed.
Now that would be a sight to see.
Ha ha, indeed. Although he laughs off the suggestion of a circuit named Jenzering, he does hint at a missed opportunity. If the government rule banning motorsport had been ditched 25 years ago, we might have seen industry giants like Peter Sauber, Emil, or Walter Frey, Freddie Lionhard with Lista, sitting down to build a racetrack.
Missed opportunities, eh?
Surely, but in this game, survival is the name of the game, and they've been swimming in this shark pond for 30 years.
And still going strong.
Indeed. As Jenzer puts it, even if they have hard times sometimes, not in private life but in terms of business, their passion keeps them afloat. It's full throttle ahead. This is key. Jenzer's passion for single-seater racing and his love for the circuit isn't driven by money. It's all about teaching the young drivers and doing the best possible job.
A true mentor in the world of motorsport.
Absolutely. And Jenzer's team is one of the last of a dying breed, the family-owned and managed racing team, competing at the highest level. Their reemergence as a race-winning outfit is thoroughly deserved.
They're testament to what can be achieved with talented drivers, even on a budget.
Indeed, it's not all about the money or the flashy cars. It's about the passion, the drive, the love of the sport.
And a whole lot of talent.
That's right. But it's clear that Jenzer's journey in motorsport is far from over. With fuel in his blood, he's raring to see what the future holds. This episode isn't over just yet, so stay tuned. We've got more in store for you. Thanks for joining us on this ride with F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We've been all revved up about the passion and commitment of the Jenzer team in the world of Formula One. It's been an absolute thrill, and we've learned so much along the way. We'd love it if you could subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future episodes. You'd be amazed at how much your support helps us. And don't keep us a secret. Tell your friends, your family, and your fellow Formula One enthusiasts. Share our channel on your social media, at the dinner table, even down at the pub. If you enjoyed the ride, let us know in the comments.
And remember, the ride isn't over yet. We have so much more in store for you every day. And be sure not to miss our special Thursday morning episode.
And a special shout out to Enzo, who we know will love this episode. Again, a huge thank you to all of you for joining us. We can't wait to share the next episode with you.
Yes, a massive thank you from me as well. With all the twists and turns in the world of Formula One, there's always something exciting on the horizon.
So remember, folks, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road. Our channel's content is pure gold.